Are we actually live?
You guys are live. Let's go.
Oh, hey guys! Welcome to Lightsaber Choreography Competition 2016. Today, we're gonna do some introductions real fast. The judging panel. First, of course, we have Eric Whiteley. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Eric Whiteley. I've entered this way too much. Somehow managed to win too. I know that you can see my pretty face right now. I'm staying really still, just so you guys don't get freaked out. Okay? No, I couldn't get my camera to work, so we're just gonna wing it with this. Anyway, I'm from Blind Wave Productions. I'm sure some people in the chat have checked out my YouTube channel, and let's see, I've won this twice, once with Rivals and once with Ferocity. So it was actually really cool that Antoine asked me to judge. I've always wanted to do this, but because we've always done local judging and not online, I've never been able to get out to LA. So I'm still here in Marietta, and I'm ready to do this.
Dope. And I guess next we'll go to feespace.net. Go ahead and introduce yourself, good sir.
Oh, me. Yeah, I'm Steve White. I've been doing fan films since 2004 is when I got into it. I think about 2006, but it may have been, actually maybe it was 2004. But anyway, I made a film called Eclipse, which was in Lightsaber Choreography Competition 3. And then I did another one in 2011, I think it was, which was called The Glove. And we actually won with The Glove, which was a lot of fun.
Let's make a note though. You're like an OG LCC. I think you're the oldest G here.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Eclipse is one of those movies, one of those films. Eclipse is one of those films that I watched, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, but I want to try. And because I watched a movie like that, I do video full time. You know, cool. I love that.
So inspiring people left and right. All right, and we got at Vapor Trail next up.
Vapor Trail Films on YouTube if you're looking for a link. But yeah, I'm a TFN veteran. These guys dragged me into their wide world of filmmaking back when I was just starting out in college, which started making little lightsaber movies and eventually joined the LCC for, I think it was LCC V, where I was infamously thrown down a sandhill.
Oh, that's the best.
Well, there's a contender this year, but we'll get to that. But yeah, so I made. It's got to be at least a dozen different lightsaber duels, 2 for LCC, a bunch on my own, and I assisted with a couple other entries over the years as well. So yeah, I think that's the basics of it.
Cool. And I'm Antoine. I mostly lead up the Facebook page of LCC, most recently, I guess, over the 3-year period, I think. I'm not sure how long that's been going on. But yeah, in terms of LCC, I came in, I believe, on the 6th one. I don't remember. I remember it was because Chris specifically got me into it, and I said, no, I don't want to submit my entry. It's too dumb, it's too stupid. But he's like, no, yeah, I'd like be a part of it. You know, it's still something if you're a part of it, even if, you know, don't enter or you place or anything like that. I'm like, all right, fine. And it was good. You know, I liked having like this part where the judges like, you know, give you critique and you like increase, you know, your skill set each time going out, which eventually, you know, I did. Then I fought Ricky, and then I fought Anthony Alba, won with Anthony Alba, and now I'm here doing this, and it's a lot of fun. I like that we're doing this here, this like more broad judging panel. I think, you know, having a lot of voices. But okay, getting into the show itself. Here's how the structure is going to go. We have this, which is the start of the show. Next, we have live judging. So what we have done is that we have nominated our top 10 favorite entries this year, and those are the ones that we're going to provide commentary to and talk about what we liked, what we feel, you know, might need some opportunities, and we're going to do that for like probably like the next hour. And then after that, we're going to go into a brief intermission where we're going to decide what our top 3 favorite LCC entries are this year. And then in the finale, we're going to also do, which is new this year, kind of like Oscars. We're going to do top 5, not top 5. We're doing 5 categories: best editing, best performance, best choreography, best cinematography, and best use of theme, which is a new thing this year. We had a theme of time, which played a big part, I think, into how our final judging actually is going to come out. And then, of course, we're going to do our overall judging. So that is pretty much it. So unless you guys have any more comments, we can get right into the judging.
Oh, I'm so ready.
All right, cool. So our first entry, if we can bring it up, I believe is going to be Countdown. If you guys want to watch it with us, just make sure you have Countdown, a Star Wars fan film, LCC 2016, queued up, and we're gonna play it in 3, 2, 1. And intro. Oh my goodness, almost forgot who. It was. I hear it in my ears. I freaked out. I was like, I can't think. I was like, wait, why do I hear this thing? I forgot we're doing that now, which is good.
Yeah, but with this one, it's the first of many that we'll see that are using this time device to do the theme.
Right, which I liked a lot, actually. Well, I liked how it started out that way. And also, this team is always very good with their cinematography and editing and all that. And in particular, I think Lizzie has gotten way better than her first outing.
Yeah, I'm going to admit I'm a bit of a fanboy when it comes to her. I've been watching her last few entries, and she's getting better every year.
Yeah, her intention and her moves are just every year they get better and better and better. Like, that's the thing that I look forward the most is an actor committing to a strike, committing to what looks like is going to be a final move, and she does it so great now.
Yeah, especially the movesets that they gave her too. Like, I like how the fight isn't just blade work all the time. She uses a lot of hand to hand to break his guard first, and then come out with like that right there with the dust, and then down the hill. Like
the competitive sandfall, guys.
Yeah, props for that.
I think that tops mine. I'm just saying. That guy took a beating.
Yeah, that stuff is good. Like, I think like little moments like that, and that's probably actually my favorite just singular moment of all the competition was just her throwing sand in his eye and then kicking him down the hill. I think that was really, really well done. And
even the kick
really
was brutal, and then he just fall was just like insult to injury to that guy. It's like he doesn't get up for a couple of minutes here.
One thing I enjoyed, and I don't know if this is intentional or not when it comes to the time theme that we had, is that we have kind of two separate fights happening in the beginning of this one, and she is running out of time to save this, I think you said senator or something like that. This is why she's come back in time to save this person, but she couldn't save them until she could deal with the first guy she was fighting. So I kind of thought of that.
What's happening? Is it okay? Is it time travel? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, she's going back, and she only has 3 minutes, I think is what it was supposed to be.
Oh, while she's back in time. Like, she only can go back in time for like 3 minutes. That's really okay. That wasn't very clear to me. And if that was clear to me, I would, oh man, now I appreciate this duel a whole lot more than I did before.
Yeah.
Because that's really dope right there. Okay, yeah, that helps a lot.
So it doesn't matter if she wins here as long as the other person gets away, I think is what it's supposed to be. And then with this ending, which by the way, I love the title they have at the end of this thing with the countdown. But when I'm judging the choreography here, I'm kind of seeing two separate fights in my head because these two that are fighting right now are great. The other ones, with the 2-on-1, some of it could, have been a little more intensity and stuff like that. But when you're dealing with the fear of this girl, it's supposed to be some kind of assassination that she's saving her from. She's already won at this point, right? Is what we're kind of
basically,
thinking.
Because she's got to go back in time.
This guy can't chase her, but pretty much. And I don't think she's.
Oh wait, no. Actually, she can't
right
because she doesn't have a thing on her wrist anymore. She has to have it on her wrist to get back in time.
Yeah, but I think the idea is that it doesn't matter that she doesn't have it because she stopped whatever was supposed to happen. If I'm correct, I think that's what it's supposed to be. That's the cool thing about this time. This title right here. I love that countdown.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about this new theme that we're doing with these LCC contests is how can you be very creative with these things.
Right, and that's actually really cool. I'm so glad that's why I like having this judging here because you see a lot more stuff through other people's eyes, and like you definitely have. I saw it from a different avenue, and I think that I really appreciated that.
Yeah, Pasta Man in the chat said something. Did you notice a slight error in the roto? I did notice that as a person that's rotoing all the time. Every once in a while, your keyframes go crazy, and it was like a foot off of her blade. But
with the deadline, it's easy to overlook that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice that until like maybe my third viewing because I was really like looking and like nitpicking. But yeah, at first it didn't occur to me.
But no, I absolutely loved this one. Like I said, in terms of judging the choreography, we have cinematography and editing and all that stuff, but choreography-wise, which I love to really sit there and go over frame by frame sometimes, I do prefer like the one-on-one they had on the side versus the 2-on-1, and then they kind of mix it up, and it was fun. Sometimes those can be kind of hard to follow, what exactly is happening, what the intentions are, and stuff like that. But they shot it really well. It's edited really well, and as long as you have those two things with choreography that has some kind of attention, you're going to have a great movie.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think it's the 1v1 stuff that was really well, and then, like I said before, the hand-to-hand integration I think was really well done, because it was part of that character's style. And I like when characters, or when people make these duels, they give their fighters specific styles, and having that intention, I think, was really the best thing I felt for this entry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I could probably say for a lot of the stuff we're going to be watching is whenever you have a partner that you're working with, you're doing your choreography, it can be really easy to fall into the same exact style, fighting one-on-one. Like, sometimes it takes a lot of effort to make sure, look, I'm strong where you are weak here. We're not doing the exact same intensity. We have to make it flow and create the story and tell that story just through movement, so creating different set styles. And you can do this with different lightsaber forms, different lightsaber hilts and that kind of stuff, but I always appreciate seeing a clear distinction between one person who was probably trained by someone completely different than the person they're fighting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Steve, what did you think of this entry?
I was impressed by everything to do with the cinematography and the editing. I thought the performances were really solid all the way through. There was a lot of intricacy going along with the number of people that they had. There didn't seem to be any times where there was a lot of churn in the background or people just standing there doing something. There was a purpose to a lot of what was going on. With regards to the time travel element of it, I thought at the beginning there was a time travel element to it, but I didn't read any backstory or anything like that, so I didn't know what it actually meant, or if it meant anything. And I was disappointed when it didn't actually conclude the fight towards the end. I think perhaps the idea that the person that they were trying to save, if they were trying to save somebody in a certain time, probably could have been conveyed a little bit clearer, because to me that person just sort of ran away and then they fought this other person and then it ended, and I was like, wait, what? I must have missed something. But
based on the
you shouldn't have to miss anything.
Comment feed here, it looks like they were not able to film the entire entry, so they probably just wrapped up at a good point.
Oh, it's a day, like they ran out on the day of.
Yeah, sometimes in these contests, you'll get a film that was meant to be a little longer, and then we have this 3 minute. I think the 3 minute rule is new this year too, correct?
Very new.
Yes.
Which I think helped a lot of the entries personally. But sometimes you have to cut some stuff out to make that. Maybe they could have been a little more clear in the actual fight and video, what actually is happening.
As you're talking, actually, let's go ahead and play the second one as you're talking. Go ahead and let's get the second one queued up. But keep going with what you're saying.
Actually, the one thing I wanted to say about this, because I believe that this is related to the other crew, the Recollection crew, right?
Yes.
I think this is like I can't remember.
I've been trying to figure out, like, there's like Rogue Zohu and then the other, the Sweats, and I'm not sure who's into what exactly.
Which, honestly, both of them have very consistent, very well-produced entries, but the one thing that you can really tell between them is they have a very specific lightsaber ignition effect that I've never really seen before. Then they've done this in the last couple entries where it's kind of like really thin. And then it goes out.
It's like it pops out immediately, and then the energy fills the entire shape of the core, which is very cool.
Which, as an idea, I actually kind of really like. The only thing I'll say about it is every time it happens, it does distract me.
Yeah.
Really? I think it's cool.
Yeah.
It's like your core is too thin, so it's like there's something missing to that effect to really sell what's happening there.
But it looks like we're jumping into the next one.
Here.
Yep.
Really quick before we continue, just so everybody knows in the chat, we're doing the top 10 out of order. There's no order to this at all. We're gonna tell you guys what the order is after, so don't read into that too much. But this one, I think this one had some really good intensity. I think that's the reason why this one got on our list is because
absolutely, the performance really sold it for me. And the double blade lightsaber moves are they're always good. That thing always looks great, just swinging it around. But I love the performance in this.
No, the thing I noticed with this one is the green bladed guy. He's really trying to attack the center between the two blades, and then our double blader just really has it covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good strategy, because that's the biggest target you have for that is that big staff.
It's very easy to stick bash and just aim for the blade all the time, but I see a lot of attacking for the person in this entry, and I have to give them positive marks for that.
Yeah.
Sand in the face.
I think one thing to mention too, especially with this being a choreography competition, the legacy of this thing, like I do judge choreography for lightsabers much differently than I do for just regular swords.
Oh, of course.
Especially in terms of like, blade leading when you hit a blade out of the way to try to get closer to a target and stuff like that. Lightsabers lend themselves, and Jedi abilities and stuff like that, it lends themselves much more to that, where a Jedi is thinking 3 moves ahead of where they are right now. So it's really more of like that chess game aspect versus straight up like kill the other guy with this pointy thing. You know what I'm saying?
Nicolard check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And then they also did pretty good with the time, because I feel like some other entries who try to use their time thing didn't continue to go back to it to say, hey, this is intensity, time, intensity, intensity. They're cutting back to remind us, hey, there's a time limit to this thing, which I felt they did pretty well with cutting back and going, hey, there's something going on here.
There's that kind of juxtaposed editing in a lot of the entries here, and it's always used really well.
I tell you, I definitely wouldn't want to paint out that green arm that they did.
I was gonna say.
I mean, if you can do that well, go for it. Yeah.
Now, I know this was an excerpt from something larger, but I felt like this is really interesting to me. Like this child soldier thing that's happening is like
was he in the green bat? Did they just like give birth to a little soldier?
I think
that just got released, right?
Yeah, that was the time limit, or I'm not really sure exactly. I put this in, up pretty high because I love the performance, and this kid does really well, doesn't he?
Right, and even this shot right here is cool. Just him walking off, and like he's silhouetted by like the night sky or the twilight sky, and it's like
Plus,
it's really interesting.
The death kill, he just cut through the guy's heart, and then he bitch slapped him afterwards just to make a point. This is my world now.
Like this is how much I own you right now.
Yeah, well, the kid owned him pretty hardcore.
Yeah, pretty hardcore.
I mean, we've had younger kids in the contest before, and sometimes it's like, oh, this is really cool because this reminds me of what I used to do. But in an entry like this, speaking about different dynamics in choreography, whenever you're choreographing with somebody, there's usually one person that kind of takes the reins and everybody kind of flows around them. But what that also does is it enhances everybody around them. So even though the kid might not be the best performer, his opponent is enhancing his ability, kind of like Ray Park and then Ewan McGregor and the Duel of the Fates fight. Like those two aren't the best, but because they're fighting Ray Park, it enhances
that much better.
Everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
And I did sort of see that, that sort of communication in the fight in the choreography as well. Like we saw a bit with, the villain was sort of losing his edge. He falls, he throws sand, and the hero gets cocky, and that's unknowingly to him where he lost his edge.
Yeah, there was a good dynamic going on there.
I mean, I love this fight. The only thing I would say is, the time of day kind of messed with me a little bit, and camera shots could have, but I mean, the camera angles were there and everything like that. So I did feel the intention of the fighters even more than I felt like the choreography could have been a little more complex, or maybe shown a little more exactly what they were doing to each other. But all of it mixed together, I just really enjoyed the performance of that one.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you brought up about camera, because I like to specify what that means in terms of this competition. It's not about who has the best look. Like for instance, like we can talk about like Countdown that looks really nice, but the reason why I give so many points to that kind of entry isn't because of how pretty their image is, but how well they capture the moves, and that's what the camera should be there for. It's about what angle should you choose for that specific move, and how well does that represent that move. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much just about like let's get like the best image possible, because you can have an iPhone and still shoot it very well, even though you have one focal length the whole time. You don't need like different lenses or like a really expensive camera to win the cinematography award in this competition. Mm-hmm. It's about how you highlight the fight, how you represent the fight, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, especially with choreography in general, like picking the right angle can take a kick that you could really kick somebody and it will look okay. You could hit him as hard as you can, but if you pick the right angle and you are a foot away from him, you can make that kick look really good. Mm-hmm. So it's picking the right angle is great.
Yeah. And bringing the flow of the camera, I really like glide cam type stuff in these kinds of things as well, where they really pick the flow of the camera as being sort of a third observer in the whole thing that really sells it all.
I also
He would
really
have
like.
some pretty awesome shots like that.
Yeah, I also really enjoy when we get a little longer shots and these kind of things too.
Tron. I mean,
Yeah, I love this thing. Okay, Primal.
Okay, so
Oh,
this is
yeah.
the reason why this one wasn't super high on my list was just because of the time theme. Like the
Yeah,
Or
I tried to rack my
lack
brain to
of-
see if there was anything, but
right, the
No.
lack of time is what kind of dropped this down for me. Even though it was like all around like a pretty solid duel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying to defend it with like the bit of slow mo and how quickly they're fighting, but it's like it's not really a theme. So
or that he's waiting for another, because this guy seems kind of psychopathic. He really wants to show himself off, so maybe he was waiting for. I mean, right there. He's letting these guys let me in the middle. I've been waiting for this, so I don't know if wait is a time theme, but I don't know. I enjoyed this one. I'll go out and say it. This was my top pick for choreography. I love.
Yeah,
this
you wouldn't want to meet
one.
any of these guys in the dark alley.
Oh no.
I really like the guy with the dual blades, particularly because sometimes when people fight with dual blades, they forget that like they can use a second weapon to open up an attack vector, and he does it a lot. And the way he uses it, and I like that they're shorter blades too, because that's usually the best way to use dual blades is when they're shortened versus like very long. So I really appreciated that, and just his moveset. Like, look, he's doing one instead of like attacking both at the same time, which most people tend to do. He does a really good job with that.
He's
For
keeping
the
both
sake
hands
of
pretty busy.
the canon saber rules, I'm just pretending these are Yoda-sized sabers.
Yeah, they're Shotos.
Yeah, I forget about canon.
But yeah, with that kind of style, you want a little shorter so that you're not risk hitting your legs and stuff like that. Because this guy's keeping both hands pretty busy.
Right. And that's the best thing too, is that whenever his offhand isn't really like in the fight, he is giving it action, and something similar that you see with kung fu films, like when there's like group fights, you'll have the best times is when the people in the background, they're still like moving, even though they're not really doing anything. They're just moving in the background just so they look like something's happening. He does that very well with his second blade.
Yeah, that's the one thing with these 2-on-1 kind of fights. It's almost harder for the two guys that are on each side to perform what they're doing, because they have to wait and they have to make it look like they're not. And these guys pull it off so well.
Mhm.
Yeah, they do.
Oof.
This was so cool. I love this. It matches
And
the primal.
he's taking it. Yeah, it's primal, exactly.
Yeah.
It's primal.
Like
Now-
this is survival.
Yeah, now
So doesn't matter if you get. I mean, my brain's going like, well, range of motion. I don't know, but maybe this guy's just on an adrenaline high. Who knows?
Well, Sith have the powers.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing when I think about Kylo Ren in the new movie, where he should be showing that he is more injured. And they kind of sold this a little more than they did in Episode 7.
Yeah.
In terms of actually being hurt. But yeah, I that was one thing I didn't notice when I watched it the first time was, well, shouldn't he not be able to do that much? But anyway.
We'll just
No,
pretend
it's
he's in a DC animated film. He'll be fine.
Just put a flesh wound. Cauterized at that.
This was one of those ones that I was kind of hoping like, oh, don't end right there. Well, what was that? But
yeah,
no,
it needed. I mean, the time limit, I'm sure, is what got him, but it needed a little bit of closure at the end there. But otherwise, it's fine.
But I will
It's a
say
very strong entry.
with
Couple
the
pictures of
lack
sweaty
of
guys camping, going, glad it's over.
with the lack of story, the lack of context, I still felt like I was involved in the fight from a story standpoint, which was what choreography should do at its essence. So I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it had a lot of very good energy, I think. Same with this next entry. This next entry has really, really good energy, which is what captured me the most. And I want to see more from these guys, these type of the people who like fight with ultra sabers. I know that they have like a guild or something like that, and they usually fight at conventions. Like we all saw that fight, the convention fight with the double bladed guy and dual blade. Looked like the Olympic fencing ring that they're at.
Yeah, that was cool.
I want to see more from, because they do really good at performing, and they're usually their choreography is very interesting to look at. In terms of the storyline, I wasn't really sure what to latch on to here. I don't know if you guys.
Making an anti-feminist remark, I'm not sure.
It took me a couple views to really get it, but I will say that I enjoyed the story tie-in to the Rakata and the Infinite Empire, which is from Nice Republic. Mm-hmm. And apparently this is called Mind Trap, and if I'm correct, then This is a Sith Lord and his apprentice, and he lures the apprentice into the mine trap, and then some kind of dark force comes back out, and he's trying to get information from it.
Yeah, I was definitely getting vibes from like the Old Republic game in this entry, because those were some of the most interesting missions. Just Sith on Sith being evil to each other all the time. So I was loving this. She's got the Imperial necklace for an added touch.
See, the editing in this one did kind of throw me off a little bit because I was unsure as to when everything was taking place. But that could also be just me being a little more confused than what the film is actually showing. But
no, with the Fates of Black, I think they're trying to save a lot of jump cuts, like missing pieces, just, I'm sure, do a rush timeline or what have you.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're just trying to keep it all flowing with the way they're cutting like this.
I like the way they cut, too. I feel like...
But you know, plot-wise, it didn't work for me. But their fighting is great. Their technique is great, all the way through.
Yeah, it felt very traditional, like Old Republic style, like with the two-handed and very precise movements.
Yeah, really appreciate the footwork in this one too.
Yes, and their cutting, I feel, feels the most like what lightsaber cutting should look like. It'd be more tappy, I feel, and less like cross-cut, like really heavy heaves and that type of thing, because you're trying to really quickly, because as a touch weapon, as a like you're if you touch the person with your lightsaber, something's gonna fall off or something's gonna be gravely injured. That's what I liked a lot about that, is that the tappy motion is really good in that regard.
What I will say,
you can go the fencing route, or you can go the route where you really need to overpower things. You know, back to the Primal one with the guy with the two-handed thing. I did some two-handed stuff a long time ago in my first film, and I had impact stress in my wrists because the other guy had a two-handed staff and was just beating on me the whole day. And I was sitting there blocking each thing with one hand, and it really hurts.
Right.
More. This one, you go ahead and say the name, Antoine.
Moirai.
We're sorry. We're really sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to butcher the name of this one. I'm sorry. But no, this one easily, I think, well, for all of us, because just so you guys know, like, this is our favorite theme, our favorite use of theme.
I mean, just look at the locations even.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And the way that they have their theme playing out as passage of time, they're able to do different locations, which is a really good way of doing that, you know. And they've got, I like it.
Yeah, and they've got the, you know, the slow music in the background which I always love an action scene like that, because it really focuses, like, you know, we're in the moment right now, but they're sort of playing a long game.
What I like too, I like this conceptually, that is the passage of time, and it I think I had the most feeling. It might be the music that's doing it too, but I had the most feeling for this entry. However, I felt that though the concept was really good, I don't think it was as expanded as it could have been. Like, there wasn't a lot of, like, for instance, I think setups and payoffs could have worked really well for this entry, but there wasn't really a lot of that. I mean, there's one sequence where they had the whole blade lock sequence, which comes up in the first scene and then in the third scene, the last scene when they're really old. But I feel like I don't understand why she won in the end. Like, that's what we should have. That's what we should have seen.
What I got out of it is that he won't kill her. Like, in the first round, he knocks her out and leaves her there or whatever. And the second one, he injures her, which she shows up with the scar. And in the third one, she kills him. Like, I think he can't, because of the memento he carries on his hilts, he can't kill this woman.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying, though, in terms of maybe the potential of this idea wasn't reached, in the terms of, like, it does this kind of end, and I was looking forward to, you know, when I was watching this, like, okay, what has she learned that's going to make her win? And, you know, it just kind of, he missed the block, you know,
right?
Which
yeah,
is
there's
fine
no, like,
sometimes.
repeated things that, like, habits that they have that they know about each other. There's nothing like that really sold here.
Yeah, I mean, in the first fight, she had one saber too, and now and for the second two parts of it, she's got two, but I don't see an increase in wisdom in their technique, which is a hard thing to sell anyway. Now here she walks away. I don't know why she walks away, but he comes after her. I don't really know why he decided to do that either.
One interpretation I could take, and this is me, like, just going out of it, is that potentially he was giving into the dark side, and she was like, oh, hey, you can try and chase me, and he was giving into aggression at that point, and that's how she won, is that, oh, hey, he was being more aggressive and not as defensive. Because if you look at earlier in the fight, he's playing as a very defensive fighter. He's playing the Jedi role, which I think is actually one of the highlights of this entry is
Yeah.
that you see a distinct difference between Sith aggression, fast style, and like a more stoic, stagnant Jedi style, which he kind of gives up at the end. Which, I mean, I guess if you want to go that far in terms of the interpretation, that's where it goes. But yeah, that's what I took from it.
Props
No,
to the makeup.
I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah,
That's
definitely
very
my
good.
favorite concept. Like I was like, oh man, this could be like a really short commercial or something. Like just a really you get what it's about, and then it's just about at that point how well do you execute it. And I feel like at the very end it wasn't super clear, but again, I think these guys did a very very good job with this.
Now, speaking of something that wasn't super clear to me, it took me 3 watches to get what was happening in this one. Even though once I realized what it was, I'm like, wow, I'm really stupid because they did a really good job with this elixir thing.
It was clear to me. It seemed they're setting the stage for like, I don't know if there's like some sort of sickness they all have, but basically here's your cure, fight for it, go.
Yeah, I got the idea that they've
Oh, is that what it was? Okay,
yeah,
I didn't get
they've
that at
all
all.
been
But,
poisoned,
you know,
and they
I
have
didn't
3
know
minutes
Thai
to get the
either, or
antidote,
whatever
is what it is, right?
It's the beginning of Temple of Doom, but with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get what I wasn't confused about that. I understood they needed to get this elixir because they're all sick and they need to get better. But what I
Okay, that
didn't
makes
understand is I didn't understand who to root for. I didn't know what
Yeah.
side was which.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, you know.
I don't think you're supposed to care.
Yeah.
Like, are
maybe.
they all going for it? It's like a battle royale with like, oh hey, only one
Yeah,
of you guys
pretty
can get
much.
this elixir.
I don't think
But-
anybody gets it either.
They show her and she sees the guy vomiting, and like I thought like she was worried about her friend, but I don't remember if these two end up fighting each other. I'm not sure
think it's a
what the
free-for-all.
teams are. Is it just free for all?
I think it's a free-for-all.
Okay.
This
So
main
who's
guy
this
is-
guy who's just putting
this-
it in the middle?
This is the Sith Lord, and he's kind of immaterial. You'll see in one of these
Yeah,
shots,
he's
it kind of
teleporting.
fades away.
I get
Right
that. I
here.
So
guess.
he has these 6 champions. He poisons them,
Beautiful
and they have
close-up.
to fight for the antidote,
Nice.
which is a really cool idea with the. With
Oh,
the
so it's
time.
kind of like duality. It's like fight to be my champion or
Exactly.
my
Yeah.
apprentice.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
battle
But,
royale. It's definitely
This
battle
is
royale.
this is the one that gets it for camera work for me and
Yeah.
performance. And they
I
do
knew
some
it would,
pretty
Steve.
awesome stuff with the camera and the just placement of everybody and the techniques that are being done. Pretty
Well,
fantastic.
there's a very
stuff.
Eastern style that I see in a lot of Steve's work too. So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, yeah, this is Stinson points.
And this big sequence right here, look at this big one take. Like, they did a really good job,
Uh-huh.
I think, with that.
I love the camera getting out of the way of that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they utilize high and low angles very well, which I think
Mhm.
people tend to forget sometimes. Sometimes you'll play out the sequence of a duel in one level, and it's good sometimes to like, hey, raise your camera up a little bit for this sequence, lower it down. You know, they do that very well, I think.
I also like how fast the kills are in this.
Mhm.
Yes, because that's
Well,
how
the
fast
first
kills will
guy,
be.
I was like, oh, I was just getting to know you.
Yeah,
And
like
your
I-
head's gone.
we were
And
talking
yeah.
about the last century where it just kind of stops and we don't know why the person's dead other than they just didn't block, but it works in a film like this.
Yeah.
Right, where it's like, hey, we need to hurry up and get this. And I think, also going back to the time theme, again, they're doing a very good job of cutting back to the sand timer, being like, hey, they need to hurry up or they're going to die. Hey, they need to hurry up or they're going to die. That's why this needs to be intense. And that's kind of, I feel like, what this year's theme was kind of meant to convey. Is like, hey, you don't have time to do whatever it is you're trying to do. And this, I think, does that very well.
I also like how vocal they are. Like a lot of these choreography competitions, people are playing the stoic role the whole time, and are really quite quiet. But there's a reason why people yell when they fight, and it's because,
Yeah.
give it a grunt.
And it's
they're
also for
certainly doing
power,
that
too.
here.
If you ever watch a boxing match, you'll always hear like a like,
Yeah.
and that sound is them exerting themselves so that they can put more power in their punches. That's what the point of grunting and doing that. It's actually like a calculated thing that fighters do. And yeah, I think they did a really good job. And this actually kind of reminds me of the Raid. It was like the Raid lightsaber. It's what we
Yes,
should have
yeah.
got in episode 7 when they told us that the Raid people were in there, not Conja Club.
Yeah, didn't you feel that was a wasted opportunity?
that
wow,
JJ,
just
I'm using them
the
wrong.
Entire set. of the raid, and this is it. That's all they get. Eaten by some CGI stuff. Come on.
But no, this does remind me of a lot of it's like Old Boy, or just a lot of these brutal Eastern martial arts films where they're just they're throwing everything they got, their entire bodies at each other, and then this one incorporates lightsabers. It's just something we haven't quite really seen. It's like Art of the Saber, but modern cinematography, like modern indie.
This and Primal both have that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to ask them about the production and the editing of this one, because it seems like it's just they're all going 100% every time, regardless if they're in the shot or not. So I wonder if they had this camera guy like, okay, just do it a bunch of times and I'll figure it out. I don't know. It was so dense. Every single frame had everybody doing something at once, which can be difficult.
Rick McCollum. It's so dense. So much is happening.
It's so dense. Sorry.
Rick McCollum. I was just bringing up a thing about Rick McCollum.
Yeah. No, I love this one. This was a highlight of the LCC for me.
Yeah, Elixir. I like Elixir.
And speaking of, here's another one. I love.
Oh, here's another very good one.
This one was the total package for me in terms of how they put it all together.
Yeah.
The cinematography and the editing are just wonderful, and then the performances, they have a real weight behind everything they're doing. And also, they have the nicest cameras.
Yeah, they do.
I'm pretty sure.
The color
camera they use works well for them here.
Yeah, and the thing is that I like, since these are teams that are similar, Recollection and Countdown. Countdown had a very warm tone to it, and a very desert, dusty feeling to it. And this one's got a different, more of a foresty teal going on. But they're really good at doing looks.
Teal and orange.
I love the urgency of this guy as he gets in here. He throws the blade, he blocks him. Now they're afraid to touch the villain, he's this wild animal.
Right, because if they get in too close, they know, And I like how there's a sequence where they have a little close-up where the guy's like, hey, should I attack? And he's like, yeah, go. I like that moment. Small moments like that, I think, are very important.
These performances are astounding. Every move is going for the kill.
And I gotta say, I appreciate the lightsabers kind of match the color grading as well.
Yeah, no, it's really, really well put together. The compositing is great in this.
Yeah, the filmmaking of this one, I think, is probably the best. The all-around filmmaking of it. I like that little move there.
Guys. Every entry they have is just wonderful to look at.
I like that. I like how he just pounds him. I don't know why I like that. I just know that that's cool.
No, what I got out of it is this guy here that he's fighting now, I feel like this is the one he's mad at. He's using the other guy just to piss him off.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because as we see, he's let him live at the end of that particular fight. And I don't like, that's one thing about it. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing, even though the choreography is such that I care.
Yeah.
But why not kill that guy right now? Unless he just wants to say,
it's like he wants him to watch this and make him hurt even more. I want you to suffer.
Yeah.
It's all sold without a single word. These guys are really good at this.
And in terms of the time theme, I mean, yes, suffer, and then I'll let you suffer enough, then I'll come back and we'll do it again.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. The aspect of oh my god, I lost my train of thought. Someone else go. I'll get it back.
Of all the ones, this is the one that left me feeling the most affected by the whole thing at the end. When I saw the guy was there again, and when I realized that this was him in the future, because for a while, I was a little bit confused. I was like, he's got a beard in this other shot, but he's facing the same direction. Is it just weird editing, or is there actually a point to it? And when they finally got to the final shot, I was like, and the reveal that he doesn't have the arm here, and that he's ready to go again. I was like, okay, that's awesome. Just really worked for me.
Yeah, I was confused the first time I watched it because there's a little screen in my hotel room. So I thought the villain was, sitting there and having a trance, he was recalling all this violence he just did. But that ending really sold it.
What it succeeded at the most for me is that I wanted to see that southpaw one-arm fight so bad. I was like, no, don't, stop.
Do the sequel, guys, we beg.
Yeah, paint that out for the whole thing. Go for it.
I immediately thought, oh man, I want to see who the next fight was. But I was like, oh wait, that would be entirely too difficult to do with animating his arm out the way, but that'd be really cool seeing that.
Well, I don't know. These guys are pretty
Called the
hardcore.
one-armed
Do we
boxer.
know they didn't actually chop the arm off?
Oh, possibly. I can see that happening. They just hey, sit down. Arm chopped off. But yeah, that was a solid one. In terms of like I said, the filmmaking of it, I think that one was the best all around package in terms of the editing and the cinematography and even the performances. Even though the choreography itself, there wasn't entirely a lot of like really new moves in there. Like I said, like if you do performances that are really well, you can sell that choreography even if it's not the most intricate thing. And I think sometimes that's a little bit more important sometimes, just having the energy present rather than having like, this really elaborate moveset.
And this didn't.
Well, the three-person stuff in there was pretty tight too. I mean, you never really had the sense that anybody was waiting for anything, like we were talking about with some of the previous stuff. It
Especially
was pretty unapologetically great.
Yeah, especially the moment he like grabs Green Saber's arm, cocks it in to block the other guy's arm, and then with his elbow that's free, knocks him up in the face. Like I think that was like really good sequence right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Micah Sweat is saying they choreographed this in one day too. You jerks.
Yeah, I had read that. They choreographed and shot in like 2 days or something like that, which that didn't factor into my judging of it, but separately, super impressive.
Yeah, that is very impressive.
Right. Next one, I'm going to be honest, this wasn't personally on my list. I would like to hear what you guys thought about this one, because it got in,
Yeah, I put it on my list just because one, I like the idea of the freezing time. I thought that was unique in the competition.
It's Kylo Ren's trick, except a different special effect. It took me 2 watchings to figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, it has that kind of dark glow to it when they do it. But no, for me, sometimes, especially in my first watch, I try to not analyze too much and just see if I will enjoy. And I actually found myself getting into this one.
Yeah, it's a little like they're using the freeze as sort of their gimmick. But the entry's so short, it sort of surrounds it a little too much for me. I'd like to see more of the fight fleshed out here.
And I felt the reason I didn't get to it, I guess,
but there were a lot of entries that were sort of in the middle ground for me. And this was definitely sort of, at the top end of the middle ground and coming into the ones that I thought were truly exceptional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and is that the reason? Well, I was gonna say that kill move is the reason why I was like, what? You could just do that the whole time, and then that's the reason why I don't like.
So could Kylo Ren.
That's the problem with time gimmicks.
But the difference between what Kylo does is he's freezing them in place, but Poe is still aware of what's happening. Whereas in this, it seems like it's like a time stop because when they go out of it, they've missed time. Mm-hmm. So it's related to the move, but it's like it's using the Force in like this kind of time stop. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Yeah. And I
like the choreography here. It's just the performance was not quite there for me. Like this girl, she's got this sort of like straight face thing going the whole time, but it's a little too straight faced for me. Like especially when she dies at the end there.
Quite frankly, I can't figure out how a character with that skill could ever lose without a real character flaw.
Yeah,
and they didn't really exploit or show a character flaw that would excuse that. I mean, basically, if you just wanted to kill them, you just breathe down, kill them, walk away. Right? It's really boring.
Yeah. Does she have a time limit on her freeze?
Beyond that, right?
I don't think she does. Well, in terms of the story too, I didn't really know what to latch on to, especially at the end where it's like they did a double kill. Like I didn't feel like it was leading up to like a double kill moment, or I don't feel like that was earned in any way. Yeah. I feel like it was just like, oh, let's just do a double kill, like 'cause it's cool, but not really like I didn't feel like from a narrative standpoint, I don't think there was a build to that sort of a ending.
The vibe I kind of got from it was, they were playing with the saber colors. They got blue and red, and the blue guy's like trying to talk him down. The red guy's all pissed off, and she's purple rage in the middle. So I'm just wondering if they're like siblings, and like they have, there's the good one, the bad one, and then just the absolutely terrible down the middle one. That's the feel I got from it, but I don't really know what the story is they're going for here.
One of the reasons I marked this one a little higher in my lineup was I really enjoyed the choreography, not necessarily the performance, but I tried to make a distinction between those two, even though I personally I link them like hardcore when I'm judging something. But I love the choreography, not necessarily the performance, but that's what kind of put it like it's like Steve said, like at the high of the middle ground for me. So
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Next one we have is Destiny, which I liked mostly because of the. Well, I mean, though to be fair, to just the time stuff, it was all really in the title that did it. It wasn't really the entry itself that made it clear. So without the title, I don't know how well I would have liked it. But I did like how it played out, and especially its ending. I think the ending is what really did it for me. Like usually if you have a pretty good ending, just in general, whether you're making a short film or making a fight or anything like that, the people kind of like, even if someone didn't enjoy it throughout and you just have a really good ending, people will remember just that ending and be like, oh my God, that was awesome. And then like forget like everything else after that.
This is just an aside, like, guys, it's a great entry, but please spell and grammar check next time. Thanks.
Oh yeah, for the titles. Yeah.
I enjoyed this contest, all the different ways people made a time device.
Right.
Like this one has a ball with duct tape and a watch on it, and it works.
Well, I mean, they're wearing bandanas too. I mean, these are like, the country boys.
Ooh, I love the tree.
A tree actually fell.
I love that.
I've been wanting to do that for years.
Sylvia was saying, "You killed the tree, you jerks."
And I liked a lot the camera and the editing in this. I think they were pretty slick, pretty solid with that in this entry.
Because it doesn't look like a high-end camera, but they're using it like it is one. Like everything is very professional.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. You don't need the best camera in terms of like native settings. You just need to have a very good eye, and a very good style.
You just need to know what you're doing with it. Like, I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of cool moves in this.
I think we all can respect the guy with the low budgets.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Like, I think this is a competition where you can be low budget and it's okay. Like you just have to.
Absolutely. It's
your skill that matters, not so much your equipment that you can buy. It's not about the rich kid. It's about the kid who has the most creativity.
I like the Jedi one.
We didn't have any kind of like costumes or production category or location or anything like that. But oh man, I love these guys' stunts. Anyway,
well,
one thing. Yeah, one thing
how about the guys who fell on the rocks?
Yeah, this one scored high for me just because of the imagination of the choreography itself. Very creative. It never was doing the same thing over and over again. I personally, the scarves on the neck or the bandanas, I want to see somebody's face. I want to see them emote. So I would have lost that, but it succeeds without seeing them emote.
Like even that, you guys see that force push? Like that was a very low budget force push, but they cut it so well and shot it so well that they made it work. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but it was like it was a really close up with him putting his hand out, another close up of him just rolling back, and just the way they shot it and the way they made the camera move sold that effect.
And I've even seen this effect they just did where a guy's lying on the ground and the guy strikes a saber at his face, and I see it done poorly a lot, but they really just like, get that out of my face. Like,
right. Yeah, their intensity is really good. Their performance is really good, I think, and
they're using the location better than I think most people have this contest.
Yeah,
like, right.
Yeah, especially for the forest location where everyone just kind of finds
fights. Yeah, but they're really exploring every little nook and cranny of this little forest.
Yeah,
and chopping it down.
And this is my favorite right here. It's like no one gets off the planet.
I love that shot. Yeah.
So great, so good. It's so perfect. And I like how they use the smash in title for the cut. This like boom, 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 and then they have Destiny. Like that's
really solid.
That was a solid entry.
Oh yeah.
I think
that
the
font at the end, I wonder
cinematography
if
could have
they
been a
smashed
little bit better.
Just
in terms of, there was an opportunity I think to push in a little bit more in certain places and maybe pull out a little bit more. Everything was kind of shot from about the same distance.
Yeah.
It probably would have made it a little bit more punchy. Something to think about.
I never saw this.
Oh yeah, neither have I. Wait, what's happening here?
Wow, guys, watch the
one of them was alive. They were gonna force call it themselves.
Oh crap.
Oh yeah, totally.
It could have been Magneto.
That one.
Not sure.
Magneto.
But no, yeah, I love that one. It didn't score the highest on any category of all the entries, but it scored high enough where I was surprised. Like, wow, this is really much higher up than I thought it was going to be.
Consistency is very important.
Yeah, but the editing might be some of the best editing of the contest for me too.
Yeah, actually, at first I knew it had good editing. I had it in my editing category, but after a second watching it, like just talking it out and like really looking at it, I'm like, yeah, I actually might have put that a little bit higher.
I feel the same way, actually. And it was one of the things that was good about having sort of 3 or 4 categories, well, 5, whatever. However many categories we had to judge with. Was nice because we had to think about each one in that scope. And I think that really, like, this kind of entry really benefits from that, because you kind of go, yeah, well, it was good for this, and it was good for this, and it was good for this too, and good for that. And by the end, you end up with pretty good marks. Like, there were relatively few entries that I had top marks in all categories for, or even most categories for. I don't think any had top marks in all categories.
Right.
But that one was certainly, above average in everything that it did. It was very good.
Damn, actually, yeah, that was actually really good. I think, we're gonna talk about that one. We're gonna talk about that one. Yeah, time and time again, because I'm looking at my rankings here, and I'm like, I might want to adjust here. I need to do. That's why we're doing an intermission for this very reason.
Yeah, and that's why we got to talk it out anyway too.
To reassess.
We've been sort of just so everyone knows that we haven't discussed these entries amongst ourselves either. This is we're all sharing for the first time here.
Yeah, which is the best thing about a panel, I think. So last but not least, we have Time and Time Again, which
entry, right?
I think you mean Edge of Tomorrow. All you need is lightsaber.
Yeah.
The main thing that I liked about this is that they paced it very well. I think first they establish, okay, this is fight, and then they have the mechanic or the gimmick of what's happening in this fight, the time mechanic. And then they just keep cutting. They keep cutting. I love that their pace in this fight.
Yeah. The problem I have with that is, well, it might not be a problem. It might just be their hero. Because whereas you think of like Edge of Tomorrow or Groundhog Day, the main character takes advantage of the subtle changes they witness throughout the day. This guy's like, okay, well, I'm going to start over. But instead of doing what I did and changing it, I'm going to do something completely different. I'm like, well, then this is going to take you a while, buddy.
Yeah. It will take, and it does take him a while.
I think this is a very difficult thing to actually do extremely well. Like, it's an interesting idea, but it's one of these ones where it is not easy to actually tell this kind of story well.
No, I agree. One of the things about this one is I actually like it much more when I saw the ending than when I was watching the whole thing, because the one guy is doing this reset, right, and then we find out, spoilers, the other guy's doing it too, which to me I immediately thought, so the one guy has no idea how many times the other person has done it. They could be doing this for 10,000 years and no one knows.
Well, I was wondering about the battery life on those things.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, otherwise,
this stunt. Sorry, the stunt. I love the stunt.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's stunt of the year for me right there. That had to hurt.
Great job.
And I love that, just the eye-opening, like just to know that, okay, good, like their visual language, I think, their filmmaking language, I think, is really good in that regard. Like, okay, opening eyes, that means it's a new day. Open eyes, new day.
Very good. They found themselves like a way of telling this without having to.
They needed a longer shutter speed for this, by the way, for filming it. Their sabers aren't fanning out at all.
Right.
It's very high shutter speed.
Yeah, and I felt like what you were saying before is that the other entry, Destiny, should have been wider. I felt like they should have got a little bit closer sometimes. I feel like it's a little bit too wide.
There's just in terms of cinematography, there's something about the lenses they use. I think they needed to use either more telephoto lenses or something or maybe wider and bring the camera closer. There's a nice camera move, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And there's ways you can cheat that. Like, if you have a zoom lens, you can just, step far away, zoom in, and you have, different focal length.
Yeah, but with their active camera, I'm sure, with whatever they're filming, I'm sure the focus would have been a problem. So they're keeping the entire depth in focus here.
Yeah, and it's fixed. It's a fixed lens that they're playing.
He's got another watch.
I like that look. That look is
yeah, I know, me too.
See, I like that last section because, you see the hero of this finally has it figured out. He's like, all right, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do it that way. But we don't see him earn this strategy that he has now. It's more like he keeps trying and trying different things and none of them work. And then suddenly it's like an epiphany and then he's got it. I would more like to see an evolution of each move sort of coming from a place where he gets beat from having done it wrong before.
Yeah. Like I was saying with Morai, except that's a different kind of Passage of Time. I agree. I don't feel like we we're following the sequences enough where we said, okay, yeah, he's got to do this kind of a move to be able to beat him. Oh, he finally achieved that move. Yes, he did it. But yeah, we just kind of get, oh, he just won, kind of.
Guys, from the comments here, my camera broke. It was my crap phone.
See, that's what I'm saying. Just use whatever you can. Use whatever you can.
Bravo, sir.
He also said that he did that one stunt 3 times on the stairs.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, that was
Gotta get it
good.
right.
That's what you put in your credits so we can see it more.
Indeed.
BTS on your YouTube, please.
Okay, everybody. So in the chat, this is where we all go away and you guys go like, oh my God, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? We are going to take a brief intermission. I suggest don't stick around like being nervous. Go get a drink of water. Go make yourself a sandwich. Come back a little bit later. We're not going to come back in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We'll be a little bit longer than that. So take a good break, and we'll be back shortly.
How long is shortly? What time are we coming back?
Come back in like 15 minutes. I mean, we might be longer than 15 minutes, but like 15 minutes.
Unless one of you guys keeps hitting the reset button.
Well played. All right, guys. We'll check you guys back on the other side of the intermission. Good job, everybody.
Hey!
We have to wait. We have to get confirmation from Aaron to make sure that we're off, though.
Say nothing.
Like a hurricane to my heart, till you're far away. See the lights on the other side. I'm going to get there and hope we will meet there.
Hey everybody, thank you for the wait. Sorry for the semi-long wait, but we have deliberated. We have our winners, and oh my goodness, I just forgot. Aaron, I'm gonna say something to you in the chat. Use the...
We'll get better at this, we swear.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot to tell him to do this because... All right, that's for you, Aaron, for when that happens. You know what I'm talking about. All right, cool. So yeah, we came to a consensus. We have our top favorites for each category, and then we have an overall pick. First, we're going to do theme, then camera, then editing, then performance, then choreography, then overall. Each of us are going to take a section for ourselves. Starting with theme. So for theme, in third place, we have Elixir. Reason we had Elixir is, at least for me, it had the best ongoing stakes for their time. Like, they always made us really, really aware of how dire the situation of getting that, elixir throughout the entire entry. So that's why it's at number 3. Number 2, we have Time and Time Again. I believe we all really enjoyed the perpetual Groundhog's Day scenario that they had in there. But our number 1 is, gonna butcher it, but it's Moirai. Moirai. And the reason we chose that one for theme, and also if we can splash the image for Moirai, best use of theme on the screen, that'd be good. There you go. It won because we felt that it had the most interesting look on time. Like, instead of it being like, a bomb or, something that needed to get done within a time period, it was the passage of time. And we thought, although we don't think it completely encapsulated what that could mean, we felt that the concept was good enough on its own, and their execution was good enough on its own that it earned number 1 for time. All right, cool. So Steve, take us away for cinematography.
Right, so for cinematography, in third place, we had Elixir. What's the full name of that thing again? Oh, well, Elixir. Anyway, it was
Elixir of Immortality.
Of Immortality, there you go. It was in third place. It had, for us, I think, the most dynamic camera movements. Some of the most interesting single shots in all of the competition were in there. So we really enjoyed that. Number 2 was Countdown. Just really well shot, very clear. Everything was just really nicely put together and really well lit. And number 1 was Recollection. So just felt really solid in terms of how the angles complemented the performance and everything that was going on. It was just very well put together from a framing and shot perspective. There was nothing wrong with it ever. It was just really solid. Honorable mentions probably go out to Primal, I think, for everybody as well, for having some of the most frantic shots in the whole thing as well. So great job, everybody.
Great job. Chris, take us away for best editing.
Okay, I'm going to start with our honorable mention with Moirai again. Just for the execution of their concept, we really liked how they transitioned between the scenes, between the different times. But we just felt, to place higher, we'd need a little bit more sharpening to really sell, the differences between those times and how they're important. So our number 3 is Countdown. We really enjoyed the juxtaposition of the multiple fights and the varying combat scenarios. And it did a good job of, paying attention to the characters and not ignoring anyone for too long. So you did a great job keeping all that together. With number 2, we have Destiny, which, if you listen to the commentary, we were all really into the selling of the intense action with all the rapid cuts, really driving forward the action. Every cut was a moment that, helped move to the next moment and really sold what was happening between these two fighters. And then for our number 1, we come to Recollection with a very super clean edit. The edit drove the fight and the intensity, and it really helped identify the characters by giving the optimal focus with, by focusing on the important performance of any given moment. So congratulations to all of you.
Awesome. Eric, take it away for performance.
Okay, so for performance, performance for me is one of the most integral parts of these lightsaber fights. Recollection got third. Now, with this one, I really enjoyed the 2-on-1. I also enjoyed The way they communicated exactly what we were supposed to feel. The main fighter kind of focusing on one of these guys and the other one being the punishment, that was really well performed. It was communicated very well. Definitely enjoyed that. Now, Primal, which is our second one. This one, even though I had to mark it down because of the they didn't really use the time theme, but performance-wise, put it at the top for me. It really well titled, I gotta say. That guy felt primal. That guy that's in the middle. Really enjoyed that. And with these things, with choreography in general, you can have the most basic choreography, but your performance is going to elevate it. It can make it the best part of a movie if you're selling it. If I care, and this also includes, like, if it's a master versus a Padawan, the master performs their moves very eloquently and easy, whereas the Padawan or the apprentice or whatever, they're more desperate. Those things are very important in this category. And what was done very well is our number one, which was Elixir of Immortality. The thing I absolutely loved about this one was the sheer frantic nature of it. There was so much happening all at once. Every performer, they went all out for every single shot. It would have been easy to, like, hey, they're focusing on me in this shot. In the background, I'm not going to go too crazy, but they went crazy. I loved that. So absolutely, congratulations to all three of you. But Elixir got top marks for performance.
Very awesome. And Steve, can you round it out for us for best choreography, which is what this competition was originally about?
So this competition is all about the choreography, and or historically has been, and this time no exception. This is a pretty funny category because we ended up having a three-way tie for second place. But choreography is really, we interpret it as telling story through movement. And it's really important that you can tell what's going on from the action that's there, that the action is meaningful and it's selling what's needed to advance the story. It takes the place of people talking, and it takes the place of text scrolling. And it brings you back to the old silent days of cinema where you can just sort of see a barn fall on a person and you know that it's funny because, it makes you feel the way it's supposed to. So number 3 for choreography was Countdown. There was some pretty intricate, multi-person combat going on. There was a separated sort of 1 versus 1 fight that came and went, and it was just all around pretty well put together. As well as with the performance. For our three-way tie for second place included Elixir of Time, Morai, and Recollection, all together. And the choreography for Elixir, there was a lot of tone, there was a lot of presence. Not sure that we, specifically any one character was super important or had motivation beyond survival, but they set the stakes very well with killing off people quite on a semi-regular basis. There's always a surprise, but it was it was well put together, and they didn't really hold one person to be their hero, so to speak, and that was really quite neat. With Morai, they showed the passage of time and the change over the different eras. We were looking or hoping for larger callbacks in that particular one, but it did put it together for us. And then in Recollection, the choreography really emphasized the motivation of the villain to punish the fellow who lost an arm, and there was a good progression of things. There were reasons that people were standing by. There were reasons people were not able to fight. And just as a 2 versus 1 type fight, it was extremely well put together. Probably one of the best 2v1s we've seen, with exception of Primal, which is our number 1 pick. Which I think just probably blows us all away for the sheer amount of tenacity with everything that was going on. There weren't a lot of missed beats. There was a lot of complicated movement going on. We really felt the presence of the main antagonist in that, and it was just epic. They used the environment; they were moving around, bashing off different things, and it was solidly put together. So that was our number one pick for choreography.
Awesome, and now for the big one, the Oscar goes to. No, I'm kidding. All right, so this is the overall. Someday. Yeah, someday. Some of these guys, yeah, someday. This is our We're now getting into our overall pick. This is what we felt encapsulated all the elements that we just previously mentioned. The best balance of all three. What we have here. First, we have some honorable mentions. We have first Primal, which actually got first place in the popular vote. They got 10 points for the final tally. And then after that, in fourth place, I guess you would say, we have Countdown, which earned 15 points in our ballot system. But now to the big ones, to the top three. At number 3, we have Elixir with 25 points. With 33 points, we have Mirai. And with 55 points, also second place in the popular vote. Oh, I'm sorry, Mirai got third place in the popular vote, by the way. Second place in the popular vote, Recollection.
Congratulations.
Good job, guys. Great job. Yeah, we felt you guys had the best balance of all elements. You had very solid editing. You had very solid choreography, very deliberate intention in all your moves. So, and great characterization too. Like I really felt that the main villain did a really good job of selling the pain he was trying to inflict on his enemy, and of course, I forget the Green Sabers guy in real life. Philip, I think, is it Philip? I believe it's Philip. Philip, really good job with playing the dire situation in that situation. How about you guys? What do you guys think of Recollection as our winner?
Well, I wanted to say congratulations. I think this is their third win in the LCC.
Oh boy!
Correct?
These look at the guys to watch. Start studying everyone.
I mean, the cool thing about it is they've entered, I don't know if it's every year for the last like 7 or so, but you can see them get better and better, and then they just got better than everybody, and now they've gotten their third win. It makes me want to get back into LCC. Like I got to catch up with these guys.
Oh yeah, there's stuff in the works.
Yeah, but no,
going back just to say, they won for Loyalty, and then this is their second one here.
Oh, is it their second?
But they got really far with they placed for Prevail, and I think the Fight Inside a few times, but this is their first place. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe this is their second.
I think you were right. I'm thinking
said it right here. Yeah, it said second.
But you know what? Second one's good.
Yeah, Loyalty in this is what Micah Sweat is singing.
One of my favorites of all of LCC, Loyalty.
Oh yeah, that's my all-time favorite, probably.
Agreed.
Next to Ryan versus Brandon too, maybe.
But congrats to everybody. And the one thing about LCC is every year I keep expecting, we only have 10 entries this year. We had like 30 something this time, right?
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
And that's to everybody.
Yeah. I am very impressed with the turnout this year, and just the quality of the entries overall is, blowing our expectations away. So just you guys keep doing what you're doing.
And I think at first I was actually hesitant on the 3-minute time limit. I think I was like pushing more for like 5 minutes, but I think it helped people a lot with keeping a very condensed, like getting their ideas out quickly. Like even if you look at real fight scenes in movies, they're not actually that long. You don't see that many like Anakin Skywalker versus Obi-Wan Kenobi 10-minute montage fights.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually pretty short and to the point. Even if you look at Maul and Kenobi and Jin, if you really like put those to fight together, it's only about like a 4-minute fight altogether. But they get
I watched
their
the
points
Maul
across
versus
quickly.
Kenobi so many times it's just too short.
Right, but I think that is a better thing. You want to keep it short so that you're like, oh, I want more of that, rather than being like, you don't want to overstay your welcome ever with anything. You don't
have to say everything. You just have to say the right things.
Exactly. That's perfect. That was the perfect saying right there. But yeah, shout outs. You guys have any other shout outs for any other entries that didn't make the top 10, but that really stood out to you? Maybe some moments that stood out to you?
I got a few. One thing I wanted to say is I love the locations this year. Did you guys notice a lot of really cool locations? Like there was one entry called, there was Ronin, which was in that church. I didn't love the editing. I didn't love the editing, but I love the choreography to the point where I put it on my top 3 of choreography alone. Yeah. But I loved that one. There was also, I'm trying to think of the entry of like the water fountain, and they were going up those like like steps. Like the choreography was basic, and they were having fun and stuff. But I just liked watching that. So shout out to those guys. Ascended Part 2 was one of my favorites in terms of performance. I liked those guys. You know, your choreography wasn't the absolute, most thought out, but you guys were selling it real well. So good job on that. War Under the Bridge. Do you guys that entry?
I remember that. My favorite part about that one is the blow by that happened. Like there was just a swift and he like punches him in the gut real quick, like that force shove. That was pretty dope. I mean, I didn't like it so much in the fact that like, why didn't you just turn on your lightsaber and kill him? But I think that moment, like just I guess as an opportunity going forward for that team, if you are doing a moment like that, make sure that the villain doesn't have a saber anymore for him to even put himself in that situation. Because if he still has a saber, as an audience, we're thinking, hey, just kill him with the lightsaber. But just that moment in and of itself, the concept of it, just like the blow by and the blood. And then, like, I think that was dope.
Just to finish out mine, I appreciated the mind trap with the KOTOR and the Rakata story. That was just kind of a cool little Easter egg for me. Same thing with Prison Break that had the Reborn from Jedi Outcast, which is one of my favorite games. And then that's pretty much it for me in terms of that.
Your shout outs.
Yep.
Anybody else have any shout outs?
I wanted to mention Vengeance. That was a good one that stood out. Just a couple of guys on the street going at it. The the effects are kind of a work in progress for these guys, but overall I liked it. Was really fast and it was really brutal, but they're not quite at the level of our top contenders yet, but definitely I'd like to see more from this team.
I'm trying to look. I liked My Apprentice a little bit. I liked the scenario that played out with that. With the you've got to kill each other in 30 seconds.
That was with the R2, the floating R2 head, right?
And he like flung out weapons every time. Like I thought that was a pretty cool concept that we didn't. Oh, and another one I want to bring up. On Bot Time. It was a C-Whip production. I think you guys had some very, very, very good performances. I don't know if you guys remember that one. It's the one where the Jedi was protecting the transport ship from getting off the planet.
Yeah.
I think they did really good with the performance. I just felt like some of the editing and the camera work needed to be fine-tuned a little bit, but I think you guys got it. Like in terms of intention and energy. Like energy is very, very important. I don't think we can stress that enough. Of how much you can carry yourself by having very good intention, very good energy. But yeah, that one I wanted to bring up as one that didn't make it into the top 10.
Yeah, I wanted to also mention Dissension just for our. There's always the young guys who go at it. Like
I like that one.
They had they had the good location. They had a little gimmick with the timer on their hanging off his back pocket, and the effects were there. So I really want to see more on the technical level from you guys. Just study your camera work and just try to up your professionalism. But I think you could do great in the future.
I got a really strong Ryan versus Brandon 2 vibe for that one.
There were some stuff with
it could be the Saber Shop build. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, and here's the thing. Well, the location, also the choreography, and they even said, I think in the comments they said that they were inspired by RVP2. But here's the thing. I think that is actually a very good thing. Actually, I think that people who are starting out, you should just fake it until you make it. And I think it's not a bad idea to just copy and emulate choreography and also camera work. Like I think it'd be really easy sometimes, I think, if people just look at their favorite fight scenes and don't just look at what they're doing on the screen. Like don't just look at the fight itself. Look at what the camera's doing. See what the camera is telling you about how that shot is elevating that moveset. Or same with editing, like what kinds of edits are they using to make you feel that? Emulate those sorts of things, like not just choreography. And I really feel that can, not just in terms of the competition, but just as a filmmaker, can take you a long way. I forget, there's a famous author who said that the way he taught himself how to write is by, he literally just copied pages out of his favorite book, and just writing that, he started like just feeling for languages, and he started developing his own style. And that's what's going to happen to you naturally. After you emulate all these things, eventually you're going to find out, okay, I like this about this, I like this little element from this, and then you eventually adapt your own style, then other people start replicating you. I think Picasso said it best. What was a very famous Picasso quote? Like, every great artist steals, or something like that? Or what is you guys want to talk about?
You're close. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. But basically, use that to your fullest. I think it's very important.
A couple more shout outs. I would want to give one out to, I think it was Vladimir of Belarus against John, who both of them decided to fall on pointy rocks in the stream for their filmmaking. Future stuntmen maybe. Film us forever. I guess that's the line.
We've all thrown ourselves into like a ravine or a concrete jungle or tripped accidentally. Like, we appreciate the
Tripped accidentally,
bruises.
but usually I try to avoid the pointy rocks as a matter of care.
It's principle.
I don't know. I saw a
Dark
planet with
Saber.
no name, man. There's some rocks in there.
Dark Saber for trying to do the dark lightsaber effect. I thought they did a pretty good job with that.
Sound design
it
was
didn't
pretty
look
good
as
with that,
bad
too.
as I thought it might. It's a pretty hard effect to pull off.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been done before, but that was the first time I've really seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
we used to see like inverted sabers in old entries where it's just like a black core with the white aura and never looked right. But these guys did a good job of, I think it's the Clone Wars effect that they're using here.
Yeah,
Is what it's. I mean,
Pre-Vizsla's blade, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So-
Eric, someone specifically in the chat said, Eric, did you like the fan film with the dark saber? Because Eric doesn't like the dark saber on principle.
Yeah,
but
props for pulling it off though. I don't love the look of the dark saber, and the Old Republic, that MMO.
Oh, just
they
to
have
correct
like a
you, he's
black
not saying
port
that he doesn't
thing.
like your effect of the dark saber. He's just saying he doesn't like the dark saber concept just in
Yeah.
general for the person who made the.
But
that
no,
entry.
they pull it off pretty well. I like that.
We're just gonna pretend it was a vibro blade. We'll all be fine.
and shout out to the performances and tickets too.
Yes,
Oh, goodness,
absolutely.
that's a big one to shout out. Yeah, Tickets was a very funny one. I love that kid. That kid was he cracked me up.
Yeah, keep making entries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep him funny like that. That one was entertaining to watch for me, especially the entry monologue about episode 8's next year. Rogue One's coming out. It's a Star Wars story. It's a spinoff. You know.
Yeah, I
Actually,
definitely don't want to discourage like the younger entrants from they didn't get in the top 10, so that definitely just keep bringing them out. You get better and better as you go. Speaking on that, there's one little gripe I always have with newer entries, and it's the force pool that's reverse footage. Like that.
Come on, that's old school.
Oh right.
Yeah. So one thing, just advice: if you have a piece of black thread, wrap that around. It'll be invisible when you pull it. Do it that, and then cut the shot. Don't do the reverse footage. But yeah, continue to grow. Keep like Antoine said, watch other entries. What do you like about it? What do you not? And then just tell your own and create your own style.
Yeah. Is that all our shoutouts?
Can I take a minute to nitpick my former LCCX partner?
Yeah, sure.
So this is from Boater Bug on here, and I liked the entry, but it didn't have the stakes. It felt like practice, and there was no intensity. Like we see all these other life or death fights, and we just see these two like they're preparing to go fight someone else.
Yeah.
So why don't we just go see them fight someone else?
Well, actually, to piggyback off of that, I think that could have actually worked. His concept of just the training, but I think there should have been more intensity from the female apprentice because she's the one trying to prove herself. That's where the intensity would come from. Is from not the master who's just like, whatever, like you're not gonna do anything to me. Or kind of like even think of Neo versus Morpheus in the Matrix. That has intensity in it, but it's a training sequences. So I think the critique is more, hey, give the female Jedi more of an attention to prove herself rather than it being like a really pulled back sparring match, I think.
Sure. Yeah, we just the performance was not quite there, and so I feel like with a little more practice, maybe a little more drive towards what the characters are trying to accomplish, then push it more in the right direction next time around.
The other thing I just point out in general is there wasn't a lot of comedy I found in this year's entrance, and I love comedy in action choreography. I mean, Jackie Chan is who he is for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you were to pick, if I was going to list off my favorite choreographer of all time, probably would be Jackie Chan, and everybody else would be distant second, because so consistently he's delivering the stunts and the gags and that kind of thing. And you think back to some of the more historic entries. Ryan versus Dorkman always had a lot of comedy in it, and it really helps separate from what's going on, because laughs are real emotions too, right?
Right.
And you want to make your audience feel. It's a safe bet.
I like what you brought up with Jackie Chan. I think Jackie Chan, even for this year, would have been a very, very good, like a time theme. Like just think about Jackie Chan and like trying to get something done in the amount of time. That fits right into his physical comedy, like that kind of thing. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, comedy is an important thing that we shouldn't neglect.
The thing that makes
sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying the thing that makes me watch Jackie Chan fights over and over and over again is he's always just barely not dying. You
Yes,
know, that's what
exactly.
keeps you invested the entire time. Like, he has a ladder. What's he gonna do with the ladder? Oh my gosh, I can't believe he got away with that. That's the best thing, and I'd love to see that in more lightsaber fights, because lightsabers in general, if you touch them, you're kind of dead.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that is LCC 2016. Thank you guys all for coming out and sharing this experience with us in the chat. If you couldn't see the chat, hello from the past, from you guys watching the replay of the stream. Next year, I would like to say we're doing it next year. Of course, we're doing LCC 2017, and we would like to end this off with giving you guys. Oh, guys. Also, wait, no, yeah. Say what's up to Fee, Sylvia. Have her come back to the camera. She was responsible for the popular vote. She did it. Say what's up to her. She also headed up the old website, feespace.net/LCC or something like LCC.feespace. She has an archive of like LCC 1 through 9. So give her a shout out. She's awesome. But yes, next year, we want to leave you with this teaser image here of what our theme is going to be. Hopefully I don't look stupid. Like, like those newscasters.
Well, I can't even see
Well, I'm watching the stream now, but I don't see it yet. But I'm late,
That's it. What do you think?
So we're not going to tell you guys exactly what the theme is quite yet, but this imagery encapsulates am I saying that right? Encapsulates what the theme will be for next year. So keep that in mind for your entries next year. Don't start making them yet. I know last year some of you guys made them kind of early, and then we told you about the theme, and you're like, oh no, but my entry doesn't fit the theme. So hold off until May 4th when we give you guys the official rules. But just think about this image as just like just a nugget, So
Antoine's very proud of this image. Just
I didn't make it. I just found it online and stick the see you later on it. But yeah, this is Antoine Baddeley signing off. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you.
Eric, you can.
I'm Eric Whiteley. Thanks everybody.
This is Christopher Spenceley. See you guys next year.
Steve White, thanks for all your hard work, everybody. Good job.
Force be with you. I was waiting for an always. No one said an always.
Always.
Bye, guys. Good job this year.